Welcome to Hope on Demand for March 15th. Hopefully you're hearing the raspy parts of my voice. Roll that intro clip. Hey friends, Stephen here in the studio. Great to have you again. In the last video, I talked about my story and just how crazy things got when I was a teenager. Talked about, how God really can help us in our brokenness and how God healed me, saved me from the effects of trauma, right? Abuse and the whole deal. If you haven't watched that video, it's here. If you're on Instagram, the link is in my bio. On Facebook, it's all there. In this video, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about the story found in Mark chapter 5. It's the story of the man filled with legion, right? The guy who's filled with a lot of demons, straight out like exorcist style demons, right? In Mark chapter 4, I talked about how God can calm the storms in our lives, and it's this idea that God really, when we follow him, when we allow him to come into our lives, he fills us with peace, right? He calms the storms in our lives, right? So Jesus is in the storm in Mark chapter 4. In Mark chapter 5, it's the destination, right? He went across the Sea of Galilee, the Lake of Galilee, for a specific reason, and that reason was to find this man. And in verse 1 in Mark chapter 5, it says, "So they arrived at the other side of the lake in the region of the Gadarenes. When Jesus climbed out of a boat, a man possessed by evil spirits came out from a cemetery to meet him. This man lived among the burial caves and could no longer be restrained even with a chain. Whenever he was put into chains and shackles, as often as he snapped the chains from his wrists and smashed the shackles. No one was strong enough to subdue him or to keep him kind of calm. Day and night he wandered the burial caves and the hills, howling and cutting himself with sharp stones. When Jesus was some distance away, the man saw him, ran to him, and bowed low before him. With a shriek he screamed, 'Why are you terrifying? Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In the name of God, I beg you, do not torture me.' For Jesus had already said to the spirit, 'Come out of the man, you evil spirit.'" In the first couple verses in Mark chapter 5, you get an idea of how crazy this man's life was, right? No one wanted to be around him. He literally slept in cemeteries. He slept among the dead, right? He ran around naked. He cut himself with stones. I mean, it's really quite a horrifying little story, this Mark chapter 5. And not only was this man, completely isolated, no one wanted to be around him. You couldn't keep this guy restrained, right? There was just so much craziness in this man's life that no one could be around this man. In fact, everyone around this area knew this man. Like, well, what did God do? Right? Jesus obviously went across the Sea of Galilee. He and his disciples almost died the night before. And why was he going across the Sea of Galilee? To find this one man. Right? God cares about us, man. God really cares about you, really cares about the struggles that you have, the pain, the anger, the shame, the craziness, right? And this guy, we don't know his backstory. We don't know how he got to be filled with all of these evil spirits, right? But what we know is that he was in an absolute mess. There was no hope for him at all. And what did God do, right? What did Jesus do here? Well, Jesus found him in this place. Jesus told the craziness in him, all of those evil spirits, to get out of him, right? Jesus freed him from literally the things that were keeping him bound. Jesus took what was insane about his life and gave him freedom. And number one, it's a story about, how God can help us in whatever it is that is going on in our lives. How God, in my story, how God healed me of abuse. How God freed me from that craziness, and how even I was able to forgive the person who had abused me. Here in Mark chapter 5, it's a story of how God not only can calm the storms in our lives, but he takes what's robbing us of our joy, of our laughter, of enjoying life at its best, how God can heal us of those very things. And in verse 15, it says, "A crowd soon gathered around Jesus and saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons." Legion is a military term in the Greek for thousands, right? It's an army term for like thousands and thousands of soldiers. So there was just so many of these evil spirits in this man. He was sitting up, fully clothed and perfectly sane, and they were all afraid. They were all amazed at what God, like the power of God that it just was demonstrated. Then those who had seen what had happened told the others about the demon-possessed man. And in verse 18 it says, "As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with them, right? When God really does a number in our lives, when God comes into your heart and heals you and causes you freedom in places in your life where you didn't have that before, you want to be around him, right? You want to be around this person who loves you so incredibly. Jesus said to him, no. Go home to your family, tell them everything the Lord has done for you, and how merciful, how good he has been to you. So the man started off to visit the 10 towns of that region and began to tell everyone the great things that Jesus had done for him, and everyone was amazed at what he'd told them. Friend, the reality is, right, when God does something in your life, when you allow God to come into your life and to work some kind of miracle in your life, number one, people notice, man. People notice the transformation in your life. People notice the transformation in my life when I was healed of abuse, right? There's just something about God that when he does an amazing thing in your heart, how that amazing thing brings freedom, brings hope to other people around you. So my encouragement to you right now, the thing I want you to take away from this is that God can and wants to move in your heart. And when he does, when you allow him to come into your life and to work some kind of miracle in the broken places in our lives, when he fills us with hope, it becomes a source of hope, of life, of joy, of expectation for everyone around you. So not only does God want to move in your life, but he also wants to use your life to help other people around you. Look, man, I'm praying for you. God, I pray that every person who's watching this video, God, that they would just feel your liquid love in their hearts, in Jesus' name. And that, God, that you would do a miracle in their lives right now in 2021, in Jesus' name. Love you guys. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media, like this video on YouTube, share with someone that you know needs hope, and subscribe to the Arctic Hope Project. See you guys in the next video. Peace.